Let's get it. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. 1 Corinthians 13:11.
You know what, Robin? Have him. We're all grown adults that don't need a father figure anymore.
That's a rough piece right there. You know what, Robin? You can keep him. I'm going to go ahead and use a return option on that. Like, it's ridiculous. And one of the craziest things about this entire situation is the revolution or the evolution of Kody's children. As you can see, there are 3 children present in that scene who are talking about their father. In the way that Garrison actually referred to him as a father figure. You see, because as with the first quote that I made, when you're a child and you look at your father, one of the miraculous things about being involved with your kids, especially at an early age, is that as a father, you're basically a superhero. You are the strongest, the smartest, the wisest, the quickest, the fastest, the toughest human being ever to grace the planet as far as this child is concerned. But obviously, as a child gets older and they start to understand more about the world, and as a parent, you start to get older, slower, and softer. You know, time is a cruel mistress. And as these things start to happen, the kids will naturally start to revolt against you and naturally press up against you because they're trying to come into their own. So this is part of the reason why so many men have issues with their sons and so many mothers have issues with their daughters, because you represent the idealized or the ideal gatekeeper of that position. So for the sons, you want to usurp, basically you want to usurp your parent or your father's position within the family. It's natural. And it doesn't necessarily have to be this combative. The problem is, as with putting away childish things, just as you get older, you no longer need the safety and security of Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy, or, you put away the childish things such as toys, little girls with dolls, and as my son would say, little boys with their action figures. Well, in this case, Garrison has put away his father figure because he no longer needs that security or that insurance of this type of role model in his life, who he would probably argue has not been much of a role model or has been involved. See, because as we have to recall, of Kody's kids, there are a segment of kids are basically broken down into 3 groups. You have the older kids who probably have a better relationship with Kody because, let's face it, the quarters were tighter. The family had to rely on itself a lot more. They all lived in that same house for a little bit over in Lehigh, and they interacted with one another on a more consistent basis because they relied on one another. So Logan, Aspen, Mariah, Joel, I don't want to call it by a dead name, but they all have a different view of their relationship. Hunter is probably included in that as well. They would have a different view of Kody and how Kody is. And I might even include McKelty into that group as well for Christine's kids. But when Robin came into the family, this is the time where Garrison, Gabe, and a lot of Peyton, and a lot of the kids that have problems with Kody now, they are in that group where Robin first comes into the family, and the family is basically being usurped by Robin and Robin's kids. So they're being replaced, and they felt that replacement. And this is part of where I think a lot of the contention comes in. Now, before we get into it, I would just simply ask that if you're enjoying the content, that you go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It really helps with the algorithm, helps get the word out, and gets the video spread around more on YouTube. Also, if you're not yet subscribed, what are you doing? It's easy to do. all you got to do is hit that subscribe button and give me that HBO special. It helps the channel out, helps me out, and hey, who doesn't want to help a brother out? That's what the HBO special is all about, baby. So go ahead and give me that HBO special, and you will be notified when I upload new videos, as well as when I go live soon, very soon. Now, as I was talking about with regard to the role of the father, because essentially that's what Kody is playing on TV. He wants to be America's dad. And for the most part, he tried to latch on to what will be traditionally the father or parental or patriarchal roles of the father on, even on TV. What are they? They're basically broken down into three things. A provider, which is why he makes such a presentation that, I'm the one who pays for everything and I'm the leader of the family and it's me. And I think at one point in an earlier episode, in fact, I know in an earlier episode, he had made the statement that even though Janelle would help to pay for some of the mortgage and things of that nature, some of the bills, according to Kody, Kody was responsible for paying for Christine and Robin, the two ladies who were working at home or basically staying at home helping to raise the kids. And he said it was my responsibility and I'm the one that pays for them. Of course, Janelle kind of rolled her eyes around her head. I thought she was going to break her neck. She rolled her eyes so hard. But whatever, because she just played it down like, okay, yeah, fine, I'll give that to you. So he was the provider. The second part of that is he got to play the role as the protector. Now, as the protector, he would always try to exhibit this with his daughters. So he would have like the whole, I'm going to do the sex talk and I'm going to tell him that I am the protector of your purity. And, and if a guy messes with you, I'm going to do this and that and the other to him. And I'm going to try to intimidate him because I'm going to keep you holy and sanctified. So that's the protector role that he tried to play. Now, finally, the disciplinarian. That is where we kind of get a little sticky because ultimately, if you look back, and I've been doing this retrospective where I'm watching the earlier episodes for the first time and I'm giving my reaction on the earlier episodes, and I'm currently up to season 8. So halfway through the entire library of, actually season 9. So more than halfway through the entire library of the Sister Wives series, I've only seen one instance where a child is being disciplined by Kody. And there was, it's 2 incidents, but only one child. And that one child was actually featured in the trailer that I just played. That one child is Garrison. The first time Kody had presented himself as the disciplinarian was actually in season 6, where Janelle and Christine were meeting at Janelle's house to try to talk about a presentation that they were going to do for their real estate business. And Kody, of course, is sitting in his big chair doing work. Now, the kids are upstairs acting a fool, hooping and hollering and screaming and yelling and crying and, oh, God, oh, man, mama, help, mama. And Kody is sitting on the chair like he Mr. Steve from next door. That ain't got nothing to do with the kids. He just came over to use the Wi-Fi. And Janelle has to stop what she's doing every time, get up, walk past Kody so she can yell up the steps and ask what the hell the boys are up there doing. Now, it gets so bad that Janelle has to go upstairs and she yells at the kids. She finds out that Garrison turned off Gabe's video game. So she takes the tablet from Garrison and walks out the bedroom door, telling him that he can't play the game because that was ignorant. Garrison then jumps up and is caught on tape, side kicks or soccer kicks Gabe right in the back. Gabe starts screaming. Janelle turns on her heels, which is crazy in and of itself. Like, who does that? Like usually if a older brother, I'm an older sibling. Like, I have a little brother. And if I ever hurt my little brother, you spend most of your time, shh, you ain't hurt, you fine. You try to get him to laugh and stuff. Like, it's crazy. The last thing you want to do as an older sibling is let your mother know that you hurt him. You damn sure ain't going to try to assault him right 2 feet away from her. That's crazy to me. Like, I'm watching this like, I don't know what this dude is doing. But he does it anyway. Janelle comes back in the room. She turns around and she has to call down the steps for Kody to come upstairs. Kody comes upstairs. He doesn't even have a position on what he's going to do as the master disciplinarian. So that was the first instance. The second instance was actually in season 8, where They brought in some anthropological students from UNLV to study the family. And they stayed with the family and they talked to the family and interviewed the family. And there was an instance, and this is crazy in and of itself, where the family went out to the movies. And being as though there's so many of them, and with today's movie prices, and this isn't even today's movie prices, this is like almost 10 years ago movie prices. They spent almost $200, $178 to buy movie tickets. Then they say they spent another $50 per on concessions. Now, I know that they didn't spend $50 per family, meaning Christine got 50, Mary got 50, Janelle got 50, and Robin got 50. I know there was more than that, but let's pretend it's just $50 per wife, right? That's another $200. So they almost spent $400, possibly $500 plus dollars to go to the movies. And after they get out of the movies, Garrison and Gabe get into a fight. And after they get into a fight, it gets so bad that the security is riding around the parking lot. They see the fight. They kick the bike off. He riding around on a bike. He throw the bike off, and he runs over. And this is how Kody describes that incident.
I see a bike looking like it's flying through the air.
Hey, yeah, well, I got this. Thanks, security. I'm their dad. You just need to stop me from beating both of them.
If I ever see that again, you two are done with your lives. I'm just ending it. Get a grip
right.
on yourself, man. Man up and take some accountability and some responsibility.
That is crazy. Because like I said, you just spent $400 plus dollars to treat them. Because back in the day, that's what they used to call it. I'm going to take you out for a treat. So you took them out for a treat. And you spent $400 plus dollars on a movie. And you know they didn't have no good movies. Like, you were probably watching, especially with all the little kids, they was probably like watching some fairy princess thing. I think that like the Lego movie, I think, was out at that time or something, you know, like ridiculous Dumb and Dumber or something. And you spent $400 plus dollars on this. You didn't go see something epic like, oh, this is going to change my life. Like, you just went to see something ridiculous. I don't even think they saw a Pixar movie. You get out there, you spend $400 plus dollars. These fools get out there and start arguing and fighting. I can hear that conversation now. First thing mama gonna say, I bring you out here in public. The first thing you can think to do is show your ass. There be some smoke in the city, Jack. There's no way you getting away with that. So when they go out, they do this. And it's a good thing that they went to go see a movie and they had cameras there because Kody was playing a role. As soon as he saw security, he comes over, he starts playing Papa Scary. You know, oh, big bad Papa Patriarch is coming over and I'm going to lay down the law. You're going to stop this or you're done with your lives. Like, that's not even how you threaten children. Like, this guy has never been a part of that situation. Like, he obviously has never grown up in a household like this because I'm telling you, the way that parents usually say it is, they'll come out and say something more to the effect of, you know, I brought you in this world and I will take you out. And I will make another one that looks just like you. Try me. Something to that effect. Or my personal favorite, oh, you come out here and show your ass, you must be tired of living. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I hate to say this, and it's very, like, if anybody's been a victim of, like, you know, CA or whatever, I apologize. But this is just my upbringing. That when I was a kid, there was almost a sense of humor and a sense of dread, and obviously a sense of dread in any kind of confrontation. But there was a bit of humor that was tied into it too. Like, it was nothing that was just like over the top crazy. And obviously you didn't have parents. I didn't have parents who I was afraid that they were actually going to take me out and try to replace me. It's like, so that wasn't a thing. The first thing that I would say is with any discipline, if you don't have the time or patience to do it right, don't do it. Don't do it. The way that you have to exhibit discipline isn't about just punishment. It's not about punishing people or taking stuff away. It's about trying to get them to learn something from what you're going to have them go through. Whatever that experience is, whether you're grounding them, you're taking things away from them, you're telling them, okay, you know what? You 16 years old, you want to be a grown ass man? You can get out of my car, you can walk over there, here's $2, catch the bus. I'll see you at the house. You want to be grown? You don't need convenience, because obviously you don't want to ride. So I don't know what the hell. Like, but you gotta have some kind of point to it. Like, there's no point at which, no matter what I did, or no matter what I got in trouble for, or what the disciplinary action was, there was always a point where my parents talked to me and explained to me what I did wrong, how it affected the situation, how I could have done it better decisions that I could have made, and how I can conduct myself moving forward, as well as, if necessary, further implications as to the importance of having good character and how this is a representative of a person who has bad character or a person making bad decisions. That conversation has always been mixed in. I myself do that. In fact, I do it to the point where my kids will say things to the effect of, well, Dad, just sit there and lecture you to death. But I want you to firmly understand what it is you did and the ramifications of what you've done. If the punishment just goes hand in hand to reinforce that message, but it's not just solely about, I'm going to come over and I'm going to threaten you with physical violence and that'll be enough. Or I'm going to come over and I'm going to look tough in front of the camera crew, the anthropology students, and security because I'm supposed to look like a father. It should be noted that from Kody and Janelle's perspective, Garrison was at fault, but in actuality, Gabe was the aggressor. And there's another part of this that I thought was kind of funny. Let's take a listen. This is the add-on part where Kody throws in an additional threat to Garrison.
I'm considering not letting you go to Hawaii with that.
I'm considering not letting you go to an island paradise, sucker. Are you crazy? Because, in my mind, if you can't conduct yourself in a proper manner and you're with me, there's no way in the world I'm putting you on a plane and sending you to another state by yourself. And that's part of it too. And that's also part of the bigger message, is that when you act up or you act out, I have to be able to trust you. This is part of the foundations of where permissions come in. Based on our relationship together, I have to be able to make decisions on our previous relationships, on our history. So if my history with you is that when we go out and as the parent, you're with me and you punching people, you fighting your brother and you acting out, then there's no way in the world I'm putting you on a plane. Forget the island paradise stuff and the reward of you going away to Hawaii. I'm not going to send you away anywhere because if I can't control you, there's no way I'm going to put you onto another parent or another adult for them to try to control you and control your actions. I should have more control than they do, and obviously I don't have control. So that would be something that would need to be addressed. And this is kind of where I differ with Kody. In any incident that happens, I like to get all the information I possibly can before I sit down and have a conversation. And this is where it kind of comes down to almost like that, like a police tactic. This is how the cops do it. Cops don't just call you into the hot box and just ask you, okay, well, just tell me what you think. Let me know your story. I'll just get the evidence later. No, they gather as much evidence as they possibly can. They try to have an idea or a structure on what actually happened so that when they sit down with you, they know a lot of the answers already. And they know what they're talking to you. This is part of the reason why they tell you don't talk to the police, because you don't know what they're calling you in there for. So this is kind of that point. I like to have as much information as possible. So when I sit down and have that conversation with them, I can talk to them intelligently about what happened. So I may have talked to a few other people, or at least talk to them. And I might even separate them so I can get one story, get the other story, then I bring the two of them together to see what shakes out. Kody did something a little different. Let's take a look.
I can't have you arguing or disagreeing with him or making any comments while I ask him what happened.
It'll cost you privileges. I am judge and jury here, boy.
That's awesome. 2 points. First point, I've never seen a situation where a father has had to look at his kid and explain to his kid the rules of the road of how he's going to do this interrogation, because essentially that's what it is. I'm going to ask him questions and you can't talk. And if you do talk, then you're going to be in trouble, because I am judge and jury, boy. For kids who grow up in households like mine, this is actually closer to what I would expect.
So over there.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing. You were saying? It's in the cupboard.
And that's close to what I would expect. Like, and it's not even, like, it's the look. And that's another thing. Like, when I was a kid, and I even kind of snapped into it too, but I won't brag on myself, but I know the experience on the other side. When I was a kid, your mom talking to your brother, like, I have a little brother. If me and my brother got mixed up into something and she asking him a question, I go to try to jump in and give an answer and try to overtalk him or whatever the case may be, she might look at me and say that I ain't asked you a goodness gracious thing. And give you that look. And with that look tell you to shut the up. For your own safety, keep your hands in the ride. You understand what I mean? Like, that's where you would be at. And this is where Kody is different than a lot of parents that I know. You don't have to, if you're involved with your kids, you don't have to walk over and tell the police or the security that I'm their dad. They'll know that you the father or you the mother when you walk up and you would say, what is going on? And you had that look on your eye and you give them that look and everybody get quiet. They know who you are. Oh, you must be the you must be the mama. You the dad. I can see that now, sir. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here because I ain't trying to witness no crimes. Like, it's just different. And as a parent, you never have to explain what your role in this particular conversation is. I'm the judge and jury, boy. I'm gonna make all the decisions. Trying to come off like the gunman with no name, but you actually more like Roscoe Pico trained. If you're the judge and jury, you never have to say you're the judge and jury. You already know. And speaking of constant involvement, and I think that a lot of this is very important because, again, this will go into season 18 as we start to see the relationship between Garrison and the Cutoff, because it didn't just start in season 16 when they were struggling trying to get him to come back around the house for COVID. This is something that has been going on long before the pandemic hit. So let's take a look at what Kody had to say with regard to the family motto.
I mean, I ask for one thing in this family. What do I ask for? You guys to just respect each other's space. That's not gonna happen, Dad. Do you understand what I'm talking about here?
What? That's not gonna happen, Dad. First of all, the fact that he would talk back like that lets me further know that this guy is not used to the rules of the road when it comes to parent discipline. Because there's no way in the world a child is gonna look at their parent and say, look, this is my expectation. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I see somebody wants some exercise. You grown now, huh? Like that. It's just different. That's the first part. The second part is when Kody says, you know, well, everything that I always ask, what I always ask you guys, the idea that Garrison has no idea what this dude is talking about. Again, further lets me know that even at this time, and this is season 8, that Kody was not involved with these kids on a daily basis. Him moving to Vegas and the family being fractured the way it was, separate Kody from his kids. He wasn't even really, he may have had the presence of a non-custodial parent who has some timey visitation where he just comes over, but I'm sure that because of the security that he felt within his family, when he did come over, he probably spent most of his time doing his projects just basically at Janelle's house. So he would spend his time doing his thing and the kids would be off doing their thing, and then by the time he's, it's nighttime, he would just go to bed in Janelle's room and then get up and then leave. And so there's not a whole lot of interaction. And even with that, there is a point where you have to look and say, well, what is Kody's relationship to these kids and how does he present himself as the disciplinarian? Let's take a listen. And this is very interesting.
In our family, I do the real course correction stuff, but I don't do the daily
Look at the wives.
I'm not there all the time. My children aren't getting constant nurturing from me. If I'm disciplining all the time, my children never feel loved by me.
And that's the big problem. If you're not there all the time, then all you are doing is disciplining them. And if you're not disciplining them, then you are letting things go. They don't ever see that side of you because you're too afraid that that's all they're going to know you for. And this is part of the reason. And it's not saying that, you have to be in the household and if your relationship don't work and what about families that aren't together? That happens. But you always have to remember who you are and you have to play that position as uncomfortable as it may be. If your kid is doing good and everything is fine, then cool, celebrate with them, congratulate with them and enjoy that time. But if they need correction, you have to spend that time putting in the time doing that correction, because if you don't, then you're losing the opportunity to be able to shape them into the type of people that you want them to be. And I guarantee you that they will be more thankful that you spent the time trying to put them on the right track than for you to allow them to go down the wrong path, but you guys just had smiles on your face while they were doing it. Now, here's something from season 6, because like I said, it goes all the way back. We only saw 2 instances where Kody was actually being a disciplinarian, and this is the first time where he's actually being a disciplinarian, and this is what he had to say back then. Much like what he had to say just now. Excuses, excuses.
The last thing I want them remembering for the next 3 days while I'm gone is me getting in their face and giving them the riot act. Sounds like a cop-out, maybe.
It is.
I'm still figuring it out.
And the big problem with that is that Kody was still figuring it out while the kids were almost in their 20s and going off to college. He's still figuring it out. And he never figured out that you have to be a parent. At some point, you have to put aside your wish to be the good guy, the friend, the papachillo, and all that other stuff. And you have to actually do the hard work of being a parent. The difference between being a child's best friend and being their dad or being their mom is that a friend you may look to for certain counsel or certain things that you want to talk through. Parents you tend to look to for guidance. And that's the difference. That's the subtle difference. I don't want to trade my position as father so that I can be my kid's friend. To me, being a friend is a lesser position. It's a lesser role. I'd rather be my kid's father than a friend. They're going to have tons of friends, but they're only going to have one father. And I'm going to play that role, and I'm going to do my best to be that person that they need me to be at the time, whether it's the provider, the protector, or the disciplinarian, whatever role I can play as their father, the counsel, the person who they can come and talk to, whatever the situation. That's my role. And if I fall or don't fulfill any of that role, then I'm not doing them any favors. Here's just something that I want to throw into the mix. For those people who might not be in a unified family, like if your family is separated and you guys are co-parenting with each other, as a non-custodial parent, I always want you to keep in mind that you have to be very careful about the disciplinary actions you take upon your children. Like for instance, in Kody's case, if Kody is sitting there talking to Garrison and all of a sudden he decides that, after listening to all this, I decide that you can no longer watch television when you come in the house. No more games, no more TV, no computer, none of that. You just come in the house, you do your homework, end of story. Walks out the door. Now, what he would be doing is essentially leaving it to Janelle to enforce his decision. Whatever thing he came up with, Janelle would now have to step into that role and take care of it. And that's not necessarily fair. That's something that you would have to talk about with the parent as far as what they were willing to do and how far they were willing to take it. Now, this is also kind of goes hand in hand with my perspective that you should be taking the opportunity to put something lasting in while you're there. And this isn't just a corporal punishment. You grab the switch or whatever and you go to town and start trying to chop some wood. What I'm talking about is this is where the conversation, the lecture actually comes in, where you're trying to get them to understand what it is they did wrong and what they need to do better. Then from there, the additional part might be the punishment on what you plan on doing to punish them. Just something to think about. Now, to break this all down, I think that even as we start to enter into season 18 and we see the fireworks between Garrison and Kody, which has extended from season 17, where basically they felt like they weren't welcome, and this is what caused the breakdown at Robin's house. Or previous to that in season 16, where Gabe, Kody, and Garrison were standing out on Coyote Pass shucking trees, and Garrison had insisted that they start trying to hang out with Kody more, and then he started making himself more available, and he's telling them that they got to quit their jobs and give up their girlfriends, and on top of that, they got to move out the house. So, quit your job and move out. So, I mean, you find all that, but again, the root of it all comes down to one basic thing.
One of the main things that I've noticed here right off the bat is that there's just an enormous amount of children running around looking for attention. Is it wise to have so many children where it stretches your time and your resources to a point where you can't give the attention that each individual child needs?
And that's exactly the point. This Kody and the Brown family, they aren't the only ones on TLC, 19 and Counting, and these other shows where there's all these kids running around, and the father gets to pretend like he's so well off and he's so prosperous that he can have as many children as he wants. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much access to resource you have, everybody only gets 24 hours. The richest man and the poorest man both get 24 hours in a day. And if you have 24 kids and 4 wives, you don't have the opportunity to spend quality time with any one individual. As people start to go through things, and people will go through things, as crazy as it is, anybody who is over the age of 20, 21 understands that when you hit a certain, hell, not even 2021, that's not fair. When you get a certain point, you can start making your own plans. It always seems as though everything happens on the same damn weekend. You will go months with nothing to do on your calendar. Then all of a sudden you get invited to a wedding, and some other person wants to have a bachelorette party. Then you got another friend who want to go on vacation that same week. Then somebody else want to go to Vegas. You know, it'll always be something crazy. Hey man, I've got tickets to go to Miami. Dog, is free. You want to come? I got a stupid ass wedding to go to. What happened last week? You know what I mean? Like, it's always that way. And the same thing, when you have 20, 30 kids, they're going to have problems and issues that they need to deal with, and they're going to need you at the same time. And then you are put in a very unattractive position where you have to start deciding which one of your kids are you actually going to spend time with. And you start triaging emotions. Well, this guy, you know, he just broke up with his girlfriend, but she failed the test, so which one is more important? Which one do I pay attention to? And by having so many kids, I think you do yourself and your kids a disservice. And this is one of the things that I think that we're going to see in season 18. Now, season 18 has promised that it's going to be a lot of fireworks, and I see it coming. Like, they pretty much abandoned the wholesome, genuine personalities that they tried to play in the first couple seasons, where they would sit around and talk about Wonder Bread, gosh, golly, gee whiz, and all that other stuff. And they started to drop F-bombs on this joint in frequency. So we shall see what's happening. That's my take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been living